Welcome, everyone. It's Anthony at Stop the Killer, and here's how you play My Bloody Valentine, the game. But first, if you already have the Silent Night, Deadly Night game, there's good news for you. The game plays exactly the same way. There's one difference, though. It's those mine tunnel jumping spaces on the sides of the board. You can actually jump to the other side of the board pretty quickly by going through those spaces. But aside from that, the game plays pretty much the same way. And there's a reason why we did this. We want you to be familiar with the Stop the Killer games so that when you take them out on key holidays, you can set them up quickly, be playing in no time. If you don't have Silent Night, Deadly Night, watch this video and we'll explain to you every little detail on how to play My Bloody Valentine, the game. The first thing you want to do is take out the board, unfold it, and place it into the center of the table. Next, find the Harry's Path postcard. Place that near the top of the board. Very important. You're going to be referencing that during play. Take out the roadblocks, the weapons, the game cards, the kill spinner, the Chief Newbie save badge, the dice shaker, the reminder card, and last but not least, the Madame Mabel's laundrette bag, which we love here at Stop the Killer. Now, there are 4 players that come with the game. If you have expansion pack 1, there are 6 more to choose from, but the game only plays up to 4 people. So choose the character you like. Once you've chosen your character, place it on the bottom left corner of the board. And this is the Valentine's Day dance space. This is where Harry Warden is trying to get to. Next, place Harry on the top right corner of the board. Next, make sure that everybody gets 3 hearts. Just place them in front of you. A little bit about the weapons. Use 1 less weapon than the number of players playing. For example, if you have 4 people playing, you want to use 3 weapons. 3 people playing, 2 weapons. 2 people playing, use 1 weapon. And if you're playing solo, just use 1 weapon if you're playing solo. If there are any leftover weapons or hearts, just put them in the box. You don't need them. The objective of the game is very simple, and all players are doing the exact same thing. Every player is trying to stop Harry Warden from getting from the Valentine Bluffs sign all the way to the Valentine's Day dance. That's it. You all have the same objective. So if you can stop the killer, you win. And it doesn't matter who does it. You all win if one of you stops the killer. To win, 3 things must happen. Number 1, you must be standing on the same space as Harry Warden, either on your turn or another person's turn. Number 2, you must have a weapon when you go to battle up against Harry Warden. And number 3, the kill spinner must land on the section that says you kill Harry. To lose the game, 1 of 3 things must happen. Number 1, if Harry kills you, obviously you lose and you have to exit the game. Number 2, if you run out of hearts, you lose the game. You must exit. And number 3, if no player has stopped Harry from reaching the Valentine's Day dance in time, Harry wins, everybody loses, and the game ends. Choose someone to go first. We would love that person to be the person who has watched My Bloody Valentine from 1981 the most. Once you've established the starting player, each player starts their turn the exact same way. What you want to do is roll all 3 dice at the beginning of your turn. That's how every turn starts. Use the dice shaker that will prevent dice from flying all over the place. It keeps the game space nice and tidy. And what you want to do is move Harry first. Now, that's the gray die. If you look at that die, you will see it only has a 1 and a 2 on it. That means that Harry, on your turn, will move first, either 1 or 2 spaces. The Harry's Path postcard on top of the board will help keep his path very clear. There are little dirt prints of his boots around the board. You can follow that, but just keep referencing the Harry's Path card. It's much easier. The second thing that happens on your turn is you're going to move, and that's the white die with the little red hearts on it. That's your die. So whatever the die says, make sure you move those number of spaces, and you always move second. Harry first, you second. Very important. Now you can move vertically or horizontally anywhere on the board, and you can do a combination of vertical and horizontal during your turn, whichever you want. You are free to move wherever you like around the board, except diagonally. Do not move diagonally. Stay out of his path at all times. If he lands on your spot and you don't have a weapon, you die and you must exit the game. So part of the strategy of the game is to just make sure you're always making note of where Harry is going to move next. The mine jumping spaces are super fun. And if you land on one of those spaces, you can continue moving on the other side of the board. It just is a fun little feature we added because, hey, there's mine tunnels in My Bloody Valentine. They should be in the game. The third action on your turn is indicated by the black die. The black die indicates whether or not you draw a card or not on your turn. If it rolls a blank, you do not draw a card and your turn ends and goes to the next person. If you do see draw a card, make sure someone takes that deck of cards and shuffles them thoroughly. Make sure they spread the cards and you will just take one randomly from the deck. Do what the card says and then put it back in the deck. The whole reason why this game works the way that it does and is unpredictable and each game has a different ending is because of this deck of cards. Make sure that all 30 cards, or 40 if you have the expansion pack, are used for every turn. The reason for this is because the actions on the cards are set at different ratios. And if you're pulling the cards from a full deck of cards every time a turn is played, then you will absolutely see differences in the method of gameplay. For example, you'll have 3 roadblocks or more in one game and no roadblocks in another game. You can be losing hearts easily in one game and not losing them easily in another game. And it's the way this deck is used with the full deck of cards that makes the difference in the gameplay experience. So here's what you should be doing when you start your turn. There are 2 spaces that are extremely valuable on the board. That's the weapons space and the chief newbie save badge space. So when you start the game and Harry starts moving around, you need to be going towards those spaces to try to score the badge or a weapon or both. Remember, you need a weapon to kill Harry. So try your best to get over to that weapon space and land on it to score a weapon. Here's how you score a weapon. It says right there on the space, must roll a blank. So you must land on that space on your turn as the final number on the die. Once you've landed on the weapon space, pick up that black die, roll it onto the table. If it shows up with a blank side, great, you've won the weapon. If not, you just have to come back on a subsequent turn to try to win a weapon again. And the same thing with the chief newbie save badge space. If you land on that space, fantastic, roll the black die. Hopefully you'll get a blank. If you get a blank, that means you win the badge. Now there's only one badge in the game, so it's extremely valuable. The reason why you want the badge is because it will protect you once you battle against Harry Warden and you lose. So for example, if you have the badge and a weapon and you end up battling with Harry, that means you're going to flick the kill spinner. If it says Harry kills you and you have the badge, that means you get to live again to battle Harry on another turn if you're lucky enough to do that. Now, if you go up against Harry Warden to battle him and you are saved by the badge, you've used the badge and you've used the weapon, which means those items have to go back to their piles on the side of the board. You are starting with nothing, but hey, you lived in the slasher movie. So now all you have to do is try to get those items again to try to go chase him down and kill him. Now, keep in mind, as you're playing the game, you're going to be losing hearts. That's what Harry does, right? He rips hearts out of chests. If you draw a card that says to lose a heart, just place that heart on the Madame Mabel's laundrette bag. That's what I like to use as kind of a deposit and withdraw place for hearts. Once you start losing hearts, all you want to do is land on one of the 4 heart spaces on the board on another turn. Land on one of those spaces and you can replenish a heart. You can only have 3 hearts at a time. And by the way, you can only have 1 weapon at any given time. No more than 1 weapon. Now, here's a little tip for you if you run out of hearts on your turn. Remember, you lose if you run out of hearts. However, if you have a weapon or a save badge on your turn and you've run out of hearts, you can trade the badge or the weapon with another player that has a spare heart available to stay in the game. So for instance, if you have the save badge and you've just run out of hearts and you look to the player to your left and they've got 3 hearts, you can give them the badge, they will give you their heart, and you can stay in the game. And if you do give that badge to someone else, you should be cheering them on because remember, you're all trying to accomplish the same goal. If somebody kills Harry Warden, you all win. There isn't a single winner unless you're playing it by yourself. But if 4 people are playing, if one of you kills Harry Warden, you've all won and you can drink your Moosehead beers and just celebrate your victory against Harry Warden. And this is how you play the game. And you'll be pretty surprised at how quickly Harry can be getting around the board, even though he's only moving 1 or 2 spaces. So do your best to land on his space, have the weapon, and flick that kill spinner. Very important to go over the roadblocks. If you pull a card that says to place a roadblock chip on your space, just place it right under your piece on the board and just put your piece right on top of it. The only 2 spaces that are immune from roadblocks are the weapons space and the chief newbie save badge space, because those are spaces that are essential for gameplay. But every other space on the board is vulnerable to a roadblock. Now, you would think that the roadblocks would make it more difficult for Harry because the police are setting up roadblocks to try to find him, but it actually helps Harry and makes things difficult for you. This is the reason why. Remember, Harry is following a very specific trajectory around the board. So if there's a roadblock in his path, he will simply skip it. So for example, if you roll a 2 on your turn for Harry and he needs to move 2 spaces, but there's a roadblock chip, he will skip that space and will actually be moving 3 spaces on the board. This speeds his journey to the Valentine's Day dance. And if there's 5 or 6 roadblocks on the board, that's going to get him to the Valentine's Day dance pretty quickly. For you, since you are not following a predefined path around the board, you have to go around the roadblocks. That makes things a little more difficult for you by these roadblocks sort of being in your way as you're trying to get to where you want to go. Here's how you use the kill spinner. Don't leave it on the table and flick it there. It's not going to work well. Pick it up like this. The arrow doesn't go past the edge. So grip it really hard with your fingers like this, parallel to the floor, and then give it one hard flick with your other hand. You'll also notice 4 kill zones on the board, and those are the incredible illustrations by Justin Osborne over at Fright Rags. Now, the kill zones, aside from looking amazing, they serve another purpose, and that is some of the game cards only apply if you're in a kill zone. So if you pull a card, it may say, if you're in a kill zone, and then give you an action. Or another card might say, if you are not in a kill zone, and it will give you an action. And the kill zones were designed this way so that you can feel like you're in a slasher movie. Let's face it, you don't know if you're safe or vulnerable to a killer in a slasher movie. So the kill zones were designed this way to make you kind of feel like you're in a slasher movie. They cause tension. And a quick side note about kill zones, you don't have to be in a kill zone to go to battle against Harry Warden. You can be on any space on the board. If you purchased expansion pack 1, which is this amazing mini heart-shaped replica from the movie, this is the box that's given to Mabel before Harry gets her in the movie. You'll have 10 more game cards. They have new actions and different actions. Just shuffle them into the 30 cards that come with the main game and just leave them there. You don't have to ever separate them out. Just add them to your standard deck of cards, and that will elevate your gameplay. And it gives you 6 more characters to choose from. We know the cast of My Bloody Valentine is huge, and we couldn't incorporate everybody because only up to 4 people can play. So if you have expansion pack 1, you can choose from up to 10 characters for your character in the game. If you have expansion pack 2, this will help you when you land on the trivia round space on the board. That's this space right here. If Harry reaches that spot during the game and no one has stopped him yet, it means he's only got 6 spaces left before he reaches the Valentine's Day dance. What you can do at that point is play a trivia setback round, which you can only do if you have expansion pack number 2. In order to play the trivia setback round, all players playing must agree to stop the game and play the trivia setback round. Once everyone has agreed, open the box, pull out one of the 30 cards. Now, these trivia cards have difficulty meters on the front. If you're playing with a bunch of seasoned My Bloody Valentine folks and you know the movie very well, remember the trivia questions only apply to the movie My Bloody Valentine, and you want to make it difficult and challenging, pick one that's high. For example, this card is pretty easy on the scale. You want to open up the seal and then read the question. Then you flip the timer. If anyone can answer that question in under 15 seconds, because it's a 15-second timer, any one of the players successfully answers the trivia question, then you get to move Harry back 6 spaces on the board. This gives you more time to stop the killer. However, if all players fail to answer the trivia question successfully, it just means Harry's going to keep moving, and he's pretty close to that Valentine's Day dance, which means panic time, everyone. Do your thing to stop him before he gets to the Valentine's Day dance. A word about storage. If you don't have expansion pack 1 or expansion pack 2, what you want to do is place the cards in this section and then take the dice in the dice cup and place it over the cards. Don't put it in that separate section that looks like it's for the dice cup, okay? Place it there and that will hold your cards in place. Place the kill spinner there. Put all of the game pieces into the Madame Mabel's laundrette bag, pull the drawstring closed, and store them on top of the kill spinner. Put all of the flat objects, the board, the reminder card, the instruction booklet, and place those on top, and then close the box. If you do have expansion pack 1 and expansion pack 2, start the same way. put the cards there and put the kill spinner there. And then what you want to do is take that heart-shaped candy box and place it right here inside the box, and then place the dice cup here inside the box, put all your flat objects on top, and then close the box. And how can we not talk about the LED miner, which was my friend Nate Reagan's brainchild? He called me one day and said, you know, it would be really great for that game if you actually had a Harry Warden piece where that miner helmet lit up. And I just, you know, my head exploded because I thought that was the greatest thing in the world. And so, of course, we asked the manufacturer if they could do it, and they did. And they figured out a way to put the LED light right there in the helmet, and there's no on and off switch. Instead, the light is activated by a little magnetic heart that you just simply hold up by the helmet, and the light pops on. And then to turn it off, you do the same thing, and the light pops off. There's no way to replace the battery. It's a specialty item that is meant to be enjoyed while it works. Okay. And so if you pick that up, you can also store that in the drawstring bag. Just make sure the magnet isn't on it because you don't want it to drain the battery while it's stored. But all of the pieces of the game should store directly in the box. So that's it, everyone. That's how you play My Bloody Valentine, the game. On behalf of myself at Stop the Killer, our partner, Fright Rags, Ben and Joe and Justin over there, and all the people over at Cinepix, Greg, George, and Susan, helping us design this game and giving us their blessing, and just lovely folks over there. We all hope you enjoy tracking down and trying to stop the killer, Harry Warden. We hope this game makes it into your yearly Valentine's Day tradition. Have fun, everyone.